Hi, Ethan.
Hi.
Oops. So what is it? It's September the 4th, Friday. Glad to have you all gathering together around the fire of the Dharma. I'm Robert Beatty. I'm coming to you from Beaverton, Oregon.
Did you see that? What's sad to me about the guy they killed? He had his daughter at Ted Wheeler's on Saturday. Like, he just went back out on the streets after he killed someone. And he was at that gathering at Ted Wheeler's condo.
After he shot somebody?
Oops. Snippets of a life. So, I have a reading this morning. It's kind of an odd one. It's the attribution is, it was read by Paul Harvey in 1998. It's a little long, but it makes the point. It's called An Open Letter from God. Now, of course, the Buddhist tradition doesn't talk much about God. When asked about God, the Buddha said, "Are you suffering?" And then he would ask, "How are you suffering?" And then he would lead into the Four Noble Truths. But this is entertaining and makes the point. My dear children, and believe me, that's all of you, I consider myself a pretty patient guy. I mean, look at the Grand Canyon. It took millions of years to get it right. And about evolution, boy, nothing is slower than designing the whole Darwinian thing to take place cell by cell and gene by gene. And I've been patient through your fashions, your civilizations, wars and schemes, and the countless ways that you take me for granted until you get yourselves into big trouble again and again. I want to let you know about some of the things that started ticking me off. First of all, your religious rivalries are driving me up a wall. Enough already. Let's get one thing straight. These are your religions, not mine. I am the whole enchilada. I'm beyond them all. Every one of your religions claims there's only one of me, which, by the way, is absolutely true. But in the next breath, each religion claims that it's my favorite one. And each claims its Bible was written personally by me, and that all of the other Bibles are man-made. Oh me. How do I ever begin to put a stop to such complicated nonsense? All right, listen up now. I forgot to tape it. Oh well. Listen up now. Do it now. Oh, it is. Good. Back to this. Listen up now. I am your father and mother, and I don't play favorites among my children. Also, I hate to break it to you, but I don't write. My longhand is awful, and I've always been more of a doer anyway. So all of your books, including those Bibles, were written by men and women. They were inspired men and women. They were remarkable people, but they also made mistakes here and there. And I made sure of that so that you would never ever trust the written word rather than your own living heart. You see, one human being to me, even a bum on the street, is worth more than all the holy books in the world. That's just the kind of guy I am. My spirit is not an historical thing. It's alive right now, as fresh as your next breath. Holy books and religious rites are sacred and powerful, but they are not more so than the least of you. They were only meant to steer you in the right direction, not to keep you arguing with each other, and certainly not to keep you from trusting your own personal connection with me. Which brings me to my next point about your nonsense. You act like I need you and your religions to stick up for me, to win souls for my sake. Please, don't do me any favors. I can stand quite well on my own, thank you. I don't need you to defend me. I don't need constant credit. I just want you to be good to each other. And another thing, I don't get all worked up over money or politics, so stop dragging my name into your dramas. For example, I swear to me that I never threatened Oral Roberts. I never rode on any of Rajneesh's Rolls Royces. I never told Pat Robertson to run for president, and I have never had a conversation with Jim Baker, Jerry Falwell, or Jimmy Swaggart. Of course, come Judgment Day, I certainly intend to. Now the thing is, I want you to stop thinking of religion as some sort of loyalty pledge to me. The true purpose of religion is so that you can become more aware of me, not the other way around. Believe me, I know you already. I know what's in each of your hearts, and I love you anyway, with no strings attached. So lighten up and enjoy me. That's what religion is best for. What you seem to forget is how mysterious I am. You look at the petty differences in your scriptures and you say, well, if this is the truth, then that can't be. But instead of trying to figure out my paradoxes and unfathomable nature, which, by the way, you never will, why not open your hearts to the simple common threads of every religion? You know what I'm talking about. Play nice with each other. Love and respect everyone. Be kind. Even when life is scary or confusing, take courage and be of good cheer, for I'm always with you. And learn how to be quiet so you can hear my still, small voice. I don't like to shout. Leave the world a better place by living your life with dignity and gracefulness, for you are my own child. Hold back nothing from life, for the parts of you that can die surely will, and the parts that can't won't. So don't worry, be happy. I stole that last line from Bobby McFerrin, but who gave it to him in the first place? Simple stuff now. Why do you keep making it so complicated? It's like you're always looking for an excuse to be upset, and I am very tired of being your main excuse. Do you think whether you call me God or Yahweh or Jehovah, Allah, Wakatonka, Brahma, Father, Mother, or even the Void, do you think I care which of my special children you feel closest to? Jesus, Mary, Buddha, Krishna, Mohammed, or any of the others? You can call me and my special ones any name you choose. If only you go about my business of loving one another as I love you. How can you keep neglecting something so simple? No, I'm not telling you to abandon your religions. Enjoy your religions, honor them, learn from them, just as you should enjoy, honor, and learn from your parents. But do you walk around telling everyone that your parents are better than theirs? Your religion, like your parents, may always have the most special place in your heart. I don't mind that at all. And I don't want you to combine all the great traditions into one big mess. Each religion is unique for a reason. Each has a unique style so that people can find the best path for themselves. But my special children, the ones that your religions revolve around, all live in the same place in my heart. And they get along perfectly, I assure you. The clergy must stop creating a myth of sibling rivalry where there is none. My blessed children on earth, the world has grown too small for your pervasive religious bigotry and confusion. The whole planet is now connected by air travel, satellite dishes, telephones, fax machines, rock concerts, diseases, and mutual needs and concerns. Get with the program. If you really want to help me celebrate the birthday of my son Jesus, then commit yourself to figuring out how to feed your hungry and clothe your naked, and protect your abused and shelter your poor. And just as important, make your own everyday life a shining example of kindness and good humor. I've given you all the resources you need, if only you abandon your fear of each other and begin living and loving and laughing together. Now, I'm not really ticked off, not really. I just wanted to grab your attention because I hate to see you suffer. But I gave you free will, so what can I do now other than try to influence you through reason, persuasion, and a little old-fashioned guilt and manipulation? After all, you know I am the original Jewish mother. I just want you to be happy, and I'll sit in the dark. I really am with you always. Always trust in me, our one and only. A little wordy, but a nice message. So, oops, I did not plug in the guitar. So what does it mean today to remind ourselves of refuge in the Buddha? I take refuge in being awake. I take refuge in the realities that are experienced when being awake. The truth of impermanence, for instance. I take refuge in the community of practice. And all those who down through time have practiced and awakened to the truth, which always has love circling around it or built into it. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. Electronic problems. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya. And now we get to sit. We get to sit and be here, and really be here. To notice, to be awake to the life of the body. We could take a moment or 10 or an hour to sweep through the body, to become aware of the consciousness and the sensations in the feet, in the legs, clouds of sensation, the pelvis, the abdomen, the pressure of the buttocks in the chair. The chest, the sacrum and back, the sides, the hands and fingers and thumbs, the forearms, and the elbows and the upper arms. And we're not visualizing them. We're actually coming into contact with the sensations in the armpits and the shoulders. In the neck. The front of the neck, the back, the left side and the right side. And the jaw. And the lips and tongue and cheeks. In the eyes and forehead and scalp. And the ears. This piece of the living earth, aware of itself, and it breathes, and awareness can be present at the very beginning of each breath. It can be present in the middle of a wandering mind, in the middle of a mood, so let's anchor ourselves into reality with breathing in and breathing out. Each and every breath is communion with all of life. Each and every breath has a beginning. It has a rising to fullness, a decline, and a vanishing. Let us bask in the truth. Let us bask in our true nature. Aware of this livingness. Of course, the mind will wander. Moods will assert themselves. You might get lost in wandering mind for minutes or longer. But because we have set our intention to be upright, awake, at some point the mystery of mindfulness will illuminate what's happening. Waking up is that simple. Hard to remember, but straightforward. It's helpful when doing our formal practice like this to remember that for this time, no thought, no inspiration, no nothing, no content is of any greater importance than another. And so when thoughts arise, we simply notice thinking. It's very easy for a thought to arise and then we become embroiled in it and we start to write that poem or make that checklist But this is the time of bare attention, of liberating ourselves from opinions and identification with emotions. This moment is just this. How intimate can you become with this breath in this moment? How intimate can you be with this thought or this mood? And the path of insight meditation opens into wisdom, the deep, intuitive understanding of impermanence, of the truth of suffering, and anatta, the truth of the self being a process rather than a thing, the fact of our belonging to everything. And the other hand of the practice, that of love and compassion. We conjure up with the intention, I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. And whenever I'm hurting, no matter how I'm hurting, I aspire to hold myself in sweet compassion. And so cherishing yourself in this space of bare attention and openness, what are the words you long to hear? Offer them to yourself. Could be as simple as, may I be truly happy, or may I be strong in facing the challenges of today, or I love you with your name at the end. And even if you're not feeling particularly loving, quote, practice accepting yourself in that, the suffering of not being self-loving. Just as a parent does their best to love their child as they are, we offer the same to ourselves as best we can. And not losing contact with the body. The first time I ever taught a weekend retreat, I called Ruth Dennison on the Friday before, I think, the Thursday before. And I said that I was concerned I might not be able to do it. And she said, darling, one thing, remain aware of your sitting bones and everything will be fine. So we remain in the present moment, alive in the body. And we live in relationship with others, and so we turn this intention of love and compassion outwards. Whenever I encounter the suffering of others, I aspire to hold them in sweet compassion. Think of someone you know who's suffering and just perhaps surround them with white or golden light, or just think well of them, think kindly of them. I received a text this morning from Paige Freeborn, who is sitting through the last days of her father's life with him in Calgary. Paige and Adrian are old Dharma friends and teachers in the Ruth Denison tradition. They're having a remarkable journey. May they be surrounded in love. Let's not make it complicated. These practices of love and compassion, they're really just an attunement of the heart. And to all beings on the earth, all beings in the furthest of galaxies, softening our hearts and opening to our interconnection. May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. And now bringing awareness into the body, awakening in the body, and coming to the eyes, and then doing our traditional practice of being aware of opening eyes and then opening. Opening and seeing. And seeing, and we have here our community members. Pick one person, maybe someone you've never really noticed before. Wish them well today. Move to a different screen, maybe. There you are, my beloved who I've never noticed before. That's a fun way to go through the world, huh? Well, I am grateful for your being here. I woke up this morning in a pretty difficult mood, and now it's much softer. I have a couple of announcements I want to make. Familiar announcements. This is my new website. I invite you to go look at it. Thanks to Molly Balin. This is Old Growth Up in the Gorge. And it starts with my book. And then there's this wonderful video of one of my friends, Martin Berkman, made of a retreat in Canada. Incredibly beautiful rendition of the Dharma and the teachings. And here's how you get to YouTube. And then this is the interview with KPTV. And then Dharma talks are here and online. And this is a wonderful video made with Sam Forench and I. He did this amazing time-lapse photography. And I read The Great Way, which begins, "The Great Way is not difficult for those who are not overly attached to their preferences. Make the smallest distinction, however, and heaven and earth are set infinitely apart." So that's that. And there's tons more up here at the top, resources. And so I want to come out of that. Did that work? Yes. And then I want to go back in to here. Oh, I'm getting pretty sophisticated with this. It's working, I think. Really a final call for Doyle Banks. Skillful speech and nonviolent communication. Doyle is a master teacher of NVC, and he blends it with the Dharma very beautifully. And registration for that is closing on Sunday. So I encourage you to check that out. And then one more visual. Where'd it go? Here it is. Oh, it didn't change. This. Well, I guess it's not going to change. Too bad. Doug Pullen's class on basics of mindfulness, and really, it's a class on the four gochuras, the four foundations of mindfulness. And of course, my class is coming up soon on the Eightfold Path. So those are the invitations to practice more. And Jim, you're on Saturday. You want to say a moment about that?
We'll make a decision this afternoon about that. There aren't very many registrations yet. So we may have to postpone that till next month. The holiday weekend seems to be. I just never even thought of the holiday when I saw a September date for a retreat. Anyway, we'll decide this afternoon. But if it goes, we'll be just focusing on the simplest approach to awareness, and that's through the body and through the feelings and through the passing thoughts. So a day of simple practice.
Thanks, Jim. So now, what's happening with you? It's the true question. How are you? Do you have a question of me that I could try to respond to? Is there something happening in your life that it would feel good to share? And remembering that even sometimes what we think of as the most trivial things are important to ourselves, certainly, but also to someone else, perhaps. So if you wish to speak, simply unmute yourself and you will be here.
Good morning, Robert. Good morning, Donna.
I hear a voice. Hello?
You heard my voice, but you can't see me. Great job.
It's very faint. Can you get...
I have on my headset, so...
Oh, that's better. That's very good now.
Oh. Okay, cool. I think maybe Zoom was just like, she's too quiet. Clearly, she's not actually talking. So I have a question that's brought up by something that you were saying in meditation about this is the time when all the thoughts that we have are equal and all the inspirations and stuff. And I've actually been like trying to figure out how this works for a long time because I'm a writer, and a lot of times when I am sitting in meditation, the thing I am thinking about is what I am writing currently or what I'm going to be writing or whatever, and I actually get like a lot of good ideas, a lot of inspiration when I'm sitting in meditation, probably because when I actually sit down with the intention to write, I often meditate right before I begin writing, sort of like calm my mind and get myself into the zone, right? And so that means that sometimes when I'm sitting in meditation without the intention to sit down and write, I still get into that zone. And I sometimes just like, and I just don't know if that's necessarily a problem or not. That's basically like what I sometimes think about is whether or not it's full to just like take off with the flow of my thoughts around my art while I'm sitting in meditation, not necessarily preparing to do my own.
Great and important question. Many, many years ago, 1973, I think, I was doing a master's in environmental studies at York University in Toronto, And I convinced my committee that I could get a term's credit for doing 2 months of meditation. And the format, the framework of that was that my question was, if we are part of the earth, how come we don't know it? And how can we get back to knowing that? And so I had to write a paper for it. And I went to Santa Cruz, where I did this 2 months of very intensive 16 hours a day of sitting and walking. And I asked my teacher, would it be okay if I took notes during the retreat? And he said, absolutely not. No writing, no talking, no TV, no entertainments. This is a meditation retreat. And so for thousands of times during that 2 months of silence, ideas would come up, and I would so want to write them down. I was so afraid I would lose them. And then at the end of the retreat, it took a couple of weeks, and I got back to Toronto, where I was going to school. And I sat down with an IBM Selectric, those ones with the ball. Maybe I don't know if you ever saw one of those. And I wrote a 13-page paper, single-spaced, with hardly a mistake in my typing, and I wasn't a very good typist at that point. And it just came out. It was written. It was all ready to come out, and Robert Ego, didn't know that. So, the way I think about it and practice it is that during my formal meditation, no content is of any importance. And sometimes really brilliant ideas and great ideas come along. And if it's something that on occasion, if it's something I've been forgetting, I actually will stop and pick up my phone and dictate something. But that's very rare. During the period of formal practice, which is it's my practice of being nobody, whatever comes up, I notice it as what it is. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts. It's just this. And then, if I want to do creative work, I may well sit again for half an hour, and then I take the concept I want to work with, or the intuition I had during my meditation time, and I think of it more as a contemplative time and a planning time, and then I'm very engaged with the thoughts and the intuitions and the energy of it. But I do make a distinction between the two, so that there's some time in my day in which I'm not Robert preparing to do something, to be creative or whatever. I am that which knows, just noticing what happens. It's funny, I just remembered, I went to my teacher Maninder one time, and I said, I'm getting confused between loving kindness meditation and insight meditation, and how to do them, and what, I get confused. And he said, Robert, first you do one, and then you do the other. I've been struggling over it. So is that helpful?
That's very helpful, thank you.
Having some time in which there's nothing to achieve, even the best ideas are then just ideas, and we stand a chance of having insight into the fact that we're not any of these thoughts. We're not any of this productivity. That's a really very, very helpful. I'm glad you asked that question.
I've been thinking about it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It comes up a lot.
And of course, it's not a rule. It's a strategy that we use.
Robert, it's B.
Hello, B.
Hi, Robert.
How nice to see you this morning.
Nice to see you too. I also really appreciated Tim's question and answer. Thank you for that. And I have a question too. In meditation today, when you said, what do you long to hear? What came up very organically for me was, and very strongly was, it's going to be all right. It's all going to be all right. that was a longing that I had on a lot of levels. But then I also felt that maybe that was not something I should long for. Maybe that was not what I should ask to hear, that maybe that wasn't possible. Could you speak to that as a desire for the affirmation that I wanted? Thank you.
Well, isn't that what we all want? It's going to be okay, you know. And you can imagine talking to a child and it's like, don't worry, honey, it'll be okay. You're safe, I'm here. And there's a part of us that really needs that and longs for that. And I think at the heart of these teachings is the realization that everything is going to be okay. And everything we love and cherish and hold dear that has to do with a separate birth is all going to go away. Because it always does. It always has. That's the nature. But and this is it's kind of like it's an article of faith in a way that maybe awakening is really possible. Maybe it's possible to realize what we really are. That isn't this that gets born and dies, but it's the ground out of which this comes. In some frames of mind, that sounds crazy to me. It sounds like believing in heaven or something. And I had a serious trauma at my first communion because I didn't believe it was the body and blood of Christ, and if it was gross. And everybody else was there kneeling and getting their communion wafer, and it really was a trauma. I dealt with it in therapy at one point. That I knew that I was going to hell because I didn't believe it. But I don't think what the Buddha called the deathless. He didn't use the term enlightenment at all. The deathless, the unformed, the uncreated, is actually a reality, and that the promise of that is what underlies the entirety of the practice, beyond stress management and better psychological states, that everything is going to be okay. And everything's going to... depends on how we tune. If I'm tuned at this level of the separate self, it's really freaky and scary. And you mean my children are going to die? Well, yes, we are. But what about... And this is, I think, why, referencing back to Tempest's question, it's so important to not be using our meditation always to solve a problem or to figure out something creative, that we give ourselves some opportunity to soften back into that where no achievement is possible or required, where there's no one to achieve anything. Hang on, Michael. Let me say one more thing, okay? May I? I think there are. I think the Buddha existed. I think there are fully awakened beings who know that truth thoroughly, and whenever so desired, they can dissolve into that truth. My experience is glimpsing that, and then when not in that, it becomes a memory and something in which I have faith. And it's the pole star, it's the guiding. And sometimes when the separate self is asserting itself strongly, there can be doubt, which is this really true? But I'm pretty convinced, yes, it is. Michael, please.
Hi.
Hello, Jessica.
Just conjured her up.
I know.
I wanted to say something that kind of came to mind when you were talking with Tempest and sharing your experience with
B. Go ahead.
Sorry. I've been pretty regular here on the morning meditations, and when a while back when you stopped doing the Saturday meditation, I found over the next few weeks after that my trying to sit on Saturdays without the group and without the guidance was very distracted. I just, either I was asleep or I was certainly not present. So I tried to kind of use that as a focal point maybe, or just be with that. But what I really found helpful was finally just standing up and doing a walking meditation on Saturdays. And I thought, because God forbid we get out of our thoughts, I thought, well, maybe I need to stop going every day in the morning so I can stop this habit of having to have this guidance or this group every morning, and I should just start doing that, but I didn't. But anyway, I felt that for me it was really useful just to look for a different, really different setting to do the Saturdays and to do my own meditations. And I try to do that sometimes now as well. So I just thought I'd share that as something that worked for me.
Thank you. And it reveals that on those Saturday mornings, that's how the mind was. And we would like it to be concentrated and present and so on. And the group does provide that strengthening of concentration. And both are quite legit. And how great that you experimented with finding ways to do it. I noticed something here, B. I find it hard to let go of wanting it all to be all right on the level of the separate self. I guess that difficulty is the point. Yeah. Oh, Candle announced this too. I forgot. Great. Kate has a sit tonight at 7 o'clock, and hers starts Sunday evening at 6:30. Fantastic. Thank you, Candle, for reminding me and us. So, of course, the separate self wants things to be safe and so on, and it's not. Hello, Vic.
Hey, Robert. So last weekend when I was on my meditation hike, I was on my way down and I was kind of coming down a rock pile. And so, I had a choice of either being very conscious of stepping on the steps.
Right.
Let my body do what it knows to do.
Right.
And I chose the latter, and I said, I'm just going to let the body move as opposed to trying to take conscious step.
Right.
Of the body moving.
Right.
And I found out, to my surprise, the body knows how to move by itself.
Yeah.
And it was stepping on the rocks, it was avoiding twisting ankles, it was just going down. And I did that for about 10 to 15 minutes. But one part of me was aware of the body moving, but one part of me wanted to have an out-of-body experience and feel like I was separate from my body, as opposed to being aware from my body. I don't know if that makes sense. And then I had this intuition, a sudden scare that I do not want to have an out-of-body experience. I do not want to be outside of my body. I want to be aware of my body. And I'm not sure if that's something that you've seen or you can guide about, because it just felt like being aware of the body is different from being outside of the body. And then one part of me wanted to be outside of the body.
Where are you if you're outside of the body?
It was seeing the body as a separate, as different from the body.
I wonder if next time you're trying that, if you could notice if those are thoughts. That's a conceptualization and some ideas about now I'm outside the body and perhaps coming. The tried and true is be with this, like in a boulder field, be with the sensations in your feet and let the body walk. But we can get pretty lost in these conceptualizations. I don't know if that's any help.
So come back to, feeling the feet or feeling some aspects of the body.
Yeah. Or opening the frame and just being mindful of how the body is walking through this boulder field. It knows how to do it. And just watch how that happens and notice the thoughts come up and then come back. You take the whole body walking as your object. My training and my belief is always come back to the simplest thing. Mindful of the body.
Yeah. I think that there was definitely a new sensation, the awareness of the whole body moving by itself. I think it felt very new to me. And I think because it felt new, my mind tried to make up this concept that I was outside of it. And so, I guess to your point, recognizing that was now cognition coming in and thoughts happening.
Exactly.
And then saying, okay, now that's a thought, let that go and come back to movement. Yeah, that's interesting.
Thank you, Vic. And I just pulled up something here I want to share. Thank you for the reminder today, Candle. Where'd it go? Here it is. Candle, Sunday night, 6:30 to 8:30. And you can find this on the website. And it's on this is the digest, the weekly digest. And Kate's is tonight, and I'm not sure where that is on here. Sorry for this quick zooming through. Well, I can't find it. But I hope you will consider joining them in supporting those groups. So it's 10 after 8. Anybody else with something to share? Please.
Hi, Robert, it's Sherry.
Hello, Sherry.
In relation also to what Vic is talking about, maybe you could answer a question about something that happened to me. I was not on the path. It was many years ago when my daughter was still living at home and young, and went to bed one night and went to sleep, in the night, I thought that I had left the body, went up to the ceiling, could see the bed and my husband and me in the bed, and then I traveled down the hallway a little bit, and my daughter came out of her bedroom and went into the bathroom, and I saw what pajamas she was wearing. I hadn't watched what she wore. And the next morning I woke up and I was so startled, and I asked her, what pajamas were you wearing? She told me, and I was just stunned. I didn't know what happened. Can you speak to that?
People have such experiences, and some of them in great detail and depth. And there's actually been some research done of I forget who it was, but they had a computer create a random number between 1 and 1,000, and they put it on a shelf in the room the person was sleeping in, face up, so the person could not see it. There's no way they could see it. And then I forget were they meditating? I forget. But there were instances in which in the next morning or when they came out of meditation, they knew what the number was. So there are very many mysterious things that are beyond our usual understandings. And I haven't the least idea how they happen. But there's mysterious things. Yeah. It's one of the great benefits of practicing don't know mind, because then we don't have to have opinions for or against things. Like this, you had an experience that was very convincing and intriguing. And how to explain that, I don't know. But many people report such things. Also in surgery, that people come out of, they've been in profound anesthesia, and they remember the conversations that happened around them during the surgery. So consciousness is a very strange, mysterious thing.
Hi, Robert. It's Dave.
Hello, Dave.
I have a quick question that's procedural. Monday is Labor Day. Are you planning to be doing a session on Monday?
Yes.
Wonderful. And I just wanted to, with Nick, I've oftentimes sitting with sensation, reach a point where, following your inquiry of, is that me? Where, sitting here meditating, suddenly there is an arm. I don't identify it as my arm. I don't identify with it as my arm. There is an arm, just as you say, usually when you start meditation, a body sits here. And I wonder if he reached a point in his movement meditation where he was able to disidentify, not necessarily out of the body, but just see the body that is walking down the rocks.
I don't know.
That's a pretty good explanation. It's a good theory. I don't know if that's what happened, but it's a good theory.
I envy the experience.
All right, dear friends. I hope you have a wonderful, safe weekend. Don't forget your masks. COVID is still out there. It's been going on so long, it kind of, you can kind of get sloppy, I guess. But I still certainly don't want to get it. And I hope you don't get it either. So I will be teaching on Sunday at 10 o'clock and also again on Monday morning. So let's go out on a song. Unmuting all. Where are the children? The little children. There's always these big adult children, of course. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Happy trails, folks.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Remember Roy Rogers? Happy trail. Back in the good old days when things were simple. Or so we thought.
Thank you, Robert. That was so helpful today.
Oh, I'm glad, Bea. Thank you. Yeah, that's the central question, isn't it? It's, yeah.
Can you call me and explain it to me, Bea, when you get a chance?
Sure.
How far apart do you guys live?
20 minutes.
Oh, nice.
We've known each other for 40 years.
Wow.
Or some such.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
How nice you live close enough together that you could actually meet in person in a park or something.
Yes. Many backyard meetings these days.
Uh-huh. Well, bye-bye. I'm having a park time with my son and 2 grandsons this morning at 10. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, dear friends on Facebook and